Okay, I think we are live now. Uh, so last week, Mayor, I and Eric were trying to figure out the setup for Mayor on his computer and the Tumblr uh, the Tumblr and registration, but I think we had some problems flashing the Arduino. But first, we could discuss some logistics about the meeting. So the PI Discord calls would start on second week of June, and then I would prefer not meeting every week here. But like, what do you guys think? Because it will be a little too much for me then. To-
When would the PI meeting be?
Same day, but in the evening for 16:30 for or sorry, uh, 6:30 for us, Mir and I, and then I think for Spencer and Venkat it might be morning 8:30, but for Eric it might be a little late. I don't know the exact time. It might be like 12 o'clock or something.
Eric, how many hours are you ahead of us?
UTC +9,
Yeah.
so
So
maybe
16:30 plus.
6 hours also, 6 or 7 hours ahead of you, my mayor. Maybe 7, 8 compared to Anuraj. Something like that.
Mayor and I are in the same time zone.
Okay, but then you're aligned with Europe, right?
Uh,
One
yeah,
hour
so
ahead.
it will be like people until like India time can be it's reasonable for them, but Southeast Asia and East Asia it becomes a little late. But like if so, I don't want to like keep all the people in Southeast Asia and Japan. Like we could occasionally have meetings in PI Discord in like in favorable times of Southeast Asia and like East Asia. But right now, in the beginning,
See.
it's from like Pacific to India time zone.
Yeah, but it would be after midnight, Eric. Right now it's
Yeah,
1:30 in the afternoon. So if you add number of hours that you said, I mean, he's +9. We're +3. I'm +3. So if it's 6:30 p.m. for me, it's 12:30 p.m. for Eric.
yeah.
So, sorry, this is a meeting for what?
For the Protocol Institute Discord calls, so
Yeah,
it's
but
more
I'm not going to join that actually.
okay.
Yes,
Then it's fine.
I'm very interested. Okay, but the thing is that I think there is still a lot to do here.
Yeah,
So sorry, I thought we were talking about
no,
this
not this
this group.
call. So, but the calls here would be alternating weeks then,
Hmm.
or like, do we want to meet every week? That is what I wanted to ask because I would prefer having like one meeting, one robotics meeting a week.
Mhm.
Yeah,
For me,
but
given what we're doing right now, I think it's once every 2 weeks is just fine, basically.
okay,
Mm. Oh, so the voting, okay, it's the vote.
yeah, okay. But let's start. But like, uh, but if occasionally we want some guests, we can contact you, right? Like in PI Discord, like some research people, like from the Moon Project. If we want to have some sort of talk from them, like we could adjust the time so that East Asia and Southeast Asia people can join easily.
Right.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. And the next topic was Spencer's registration and Mayor's setup. I don't know who wants to go first. If you want to describe Spencer, what
Well,
you have
I'm
done,
I'm
and
having
then
problem with Windows. If Spencer is not Windows,
Yes, I'm Mac OS. I think mine would just be a pretty quick informational update unless we want to get into anything, but this is my robot currently.
Okay.
It's just like a bare bones Pi Zero with a camera attached.
Wheels, arms.
No, so just so I
Mm-hmm.
could get familiar with like the marketplace and the setup and everything. And I have this at home already. I just went through the process of registering this as a robot, and currently its capability is to take still images upon request, and it can also report telemetry like chip temperature and if it's active, if it's on and available. But yeah, I was able to get it on the Sepolia chain, and I believe it's on the marketplace, although it's not showing up in the.
Yeah, so the discover script, I think it doesn't, it takes some time to uh, find the uh, agent, because I think it uses some, it is dependent on an SDK, which was not fully mature when I had the first draft of it. Maybe if we pull in the latest uh, SDK, it might be better. But I think it was done by some MetaMask people. So I don't know what is the current state of it, but yeah. So I had faced similar problems with that Discover script, and yeah, it's not fully mature, like to easily discover. I have seen the problems you are seeing before. So it's
Okay.
like the script is dependent on an SDK that was like I did the use the I think the alpha version of that SDK. So
Yeah.
yeah,
And I
but
think
yeah, if you try to use the latest version, it might be a little better there. But yeah, I haven't had time to check that.
and I've been leaning on like LLM usage just for all of the setup as much as possible. I'm assuming or gathering that this is a very like pro community for
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Um,
So the the entire all those scripts are done by Cloud mostly, except like a few
yeah,
changes here and there. But mostly it's like with the help of that.
and I guess maybe that's like a small compatibility note is if you just take the Claude commands and tell ChatGPT, Codex, whatever, to do the same thing in its version, it just does it seamlessly. So they
Okay.
have all the same capabilities so far.
Yeah, I think we had tried it with open code too on Mayor's computer, and then he has controlled my Tumblr here from Israel using open code. Uh,
Yeah.
Cool.
yeah. But yeah, so I checked the power consumption of the Pi Zero, and mostly our custom PCB should be able to run it. So it shouldn't be that, but RPi would be, I think, a little on the limit. So, but like if you try to get the PCB from Venkat, and then try to see if you can switch it on and off or do some interesting stuff with that.
Okay.
And regarding the PCB, so I have pre-ordered the components for 10 PCBs, and then we'll see. So I've not manufactured the PCB yet. I just ordered the components, and the lead time is like the mid of June. For some of the components will arrive at that time. But we can see like how many people are interested in Europe and how many people are interested in US, and based on that we can either send all the 10 to the US, or maybe 5 here to Europe, or and 5 there to the US. So
Sounds good.
let's yeah, but we can do that after the first PI meeting to see like how many people are actually interested, and then distribute the PCBs.
I did have one quick question, a little selfishly. This was just, to get familiar and get set up. I could keep working on this and adding
Yes.
other stuff
So
to do.
basically, yeah. So the software stack is like mostly hardware agnostic. You don't need to use ESP32. The ESP32, one of the reasons I kept working on it, it's like comparatively cheaper, and it allows hobbyists to easily be on board. RPi 0 is also okay, but like ESP32 kind of makes it really cheap.
Okay.
Yeah, and
I'm just
then
wondering, is
also
there a need? Is it useful to have like other types of
yeah,
robots,
actually
other
more
types
you
of
yeah.
boards on there?
So at PI, one of the goals is to try to integrate different kinds of robots. Uh,
Okay.
but here we are mostly working with the tumbler and or the robomates. So robomates is a similar platform, self-balancing one, and they are targeting mostly STEM high school and like hobby scale games, robot games, and it's mostly similar architecture to the tumbler. It's like a ESP32 based self-balancing toy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unless there's anything else with this, I'm good with my update.
Yes, Eric, you wanted to say something.
Now it's just that the plain tumbler would be a candidate, but the plain tumbler is Arduino, so Arduino has no Wi-Fi, so they, I mean, there is a strict minimum requirement for all this to work, right? Okay, is a
Yeah.
network connectivity.
Yeah.
So
So yeah,
I
go on.
could be that could be what I experiment with, because this plugs in as a hat, I guess. I think as you were talking about that, but all I have to do is add header pins to this, and it plugs in um, to the Arduino, and then it has
Yeah.
Wi-Fi capability.
So Jenna wanted to test the Bluetooth. So the plain vanilla tumbler comes with a Bluetooth uh, API kind of. So like once you are connected to a device, you could send Bluetooth commands and control it. But the problem with like Bluetooth IC, you always have to pair it. One of the reasons I didn't go that as the default connection method, but like basically you could write a MCP server uh, on any computer and then kind of have some sort of pairing mechanism with the tumbler. But with a pairing mechanism, it's always like you turn it on and then you have to pair it with some device, and once it's paired, then pairing it with another device, it's like a kind of a small hassle. So it could be done obviously, but it's like a not seamless. With Wi-Fi you just turn it on, everything is on the same network, and then you start your cloud or codex or open code whatever, and then you are trying like in control of the robot. That's why I did starting with the robot, but it could be done with any interface. It's mostly hardware and agnostic, and like or the protocol, hardware protocol or the communication protocol agnostic. It's all built on top of it.
You remember a few months ago already, maybe a couple of years, we talked about these all these education robots that all come with some kind of Android app, okay, that is usually open source and so on, okay. And at some point we were discussing about the fact that it should be standard, should be the same everywhere, kind of, okay, for the platform. I wonder whether for the Tumblr this is not the sorry,
The
reading
Tumblr
what.
comes with the iPhone app or the Android app, I think.
Yeah, but that could be the relay to comply with the Wi-Fi requirement, basically, right? Okay, because that app connects to the robot usually by Bluetooth. So Wi-Fi is a free to the phone could be the
Yeah,
application, this application, Android application, whatever.
yeah,
We
yeah,
could
yeah.
have code there to basically implement the protocol, right?
Yes, basically then we will have to write some sort of Android or iOS app
But
that
these
runs.
apps already exist. Okay, so it's more about implementing the feature inside, right?
Yeah, so basically, I don't know if it should be possible to like embed an agent SDK inside the iOS app. So Claude and Codex all come with some agents SDK, so it should be not that difficult to embed it inside some sort of iOS or Android app. So kind of then like people don't need a laptop. You could just use your phone or iPad. Yeah.
All the code is open source. Maya and I have, the spider from I Wonder, okay? And I Wonder makes quite a few educational robots. Okay? There are several companies like that, but
Yeah.
this one is they have a rich catalog. Okay? And what's interesting is that they have one app for all. Okay, and so it can be interesting to see whether what is the ecosystem there, and maybe to vibe code extension to these open source apps. Basically, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that is like one way to explore that ecosystem. But you were controlling the spider bot with Python, right? How was the interface? So it was going through
The
PageKite and
yeah,
then somewhere else.
yes. So the spider boat and several other robots from High Wonder, all of them are there is a whole series with Raspberry Pi, and then everything is on with Python. They also
Okay.
have, or they used to have, I see them less and less now because of AI functionality that require more power. But you used to have the spider boat with Arduino and the spider boat with Raspberry Pi, something like that, right? Okay. And I think the Arduino one are disappearing step by step because they beefed up a little bit the features to run on those boats.
So they all come with what Python SDK.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the way they do it is that yeah, they ship. You can choose. At some point, you could choose, I think, with or without the Raspberry Pi. But when you get it, after that, you download an image, a system image. So it's some Debian or Raspbian image where the code is inside. And it works out of the box. You just put it on an SD card, you put it on your board, and it just works. Okay? But you can also log into it and explore the code and so on. And everything is really in Python, as far as I know.
Okay.
Maya and I used to extend and modify that code a lot. Back when we were really doing robotics.
That's Python.
Yeah. But Mayor, you could, or Eric, you could try to like write a plugin or adapter
Mhm.
for the spider bot to see check
Well,
how.
Anurag, that's exactly my point in the thread that we have.
Yeah.
Um, Writing an adapter is one thing, but how much do we put on it? And I was suggesting that we have a little box, $100, yeah, that supplies that missing functionality and connectivity, and that the only adapters that we write, if any, is how that little box directly controls the robot. Because if we want people to join, if we only get hobbyists and each one has to write their own code to make their robot connect to our network, then we're going to grow really, really slowly.
Hmm. But like, how much was the RPi Zero? It's 60, 70 euros, right? Spencer, how much does it cost?
Mm, I thought it was less than that. Like, oh yeah. I don't know the conversion. If it's like 1-to-1, it's like
No,
very
it's nothing.
childish.
I'm looking on AliExpress. They're offering the Raspberry Pi Zero. There's 1W and 2W, €10.
Yeah. I was just thinking, like, how could
The Pi
you?
Zero is €10 now.
Here
Wow.
I see Electron is selling it for €20.
Okay.
That's the
So
number,
sorry.
between 10 and 20.
I made a mistake in my head because I have a Raspberry Pi Pico. Okay. And I remember that this was costing like $2 or $3, and so that's why I was a bit surprised. But the
Yeah.
micro is bigger, right? What is a Pico?
It has.
Oh
Is
no, the Pico is a microcontroller and ARPA-0 is a Linux box.
Okay, it's a fully
P-
fledged machine. Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the Pico is a
Okay.
microcontroller, and then this ARPA-0 has a A50
okay.
ARM Cortex
So,
A53
so there's 0
SoC.
and 02. Which 0 are
Yes,
you talking about? The original one or the 02?
I think 02 has a more powerful SoC. I think
And
it's a
it is. It's
quad core.
5 times as
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. But like, what would be the like what would people write? That is what I'm thinking. If we provide a box, let's say we have a ready-made box, uh, then like if somebody wants to put on a robot that has an RPI, what would be the what would the interface between the robot and the let's say RPI-0 look like?
So uh, put aside the interface for a second between the robot. We have all sorts of functionality like connecting to the MCP through the internet with Grok and whatever. I would definitely want to add a live video. So all of this type of functionality would be in the box. And this box, let's call it 0, would get instructions from the internet and convert them into instructions a robot can understand. It won't do any thinking at the beginning. It'll just do direct conversion. So the question becomes, how do you control your robot at all? So if the robot has any kind of API, it's connected by cable, maybe, USB cable to this 0, and the commands are just passed on. Could make it more sophisticated, but I'm just trying to get the onboarding as easy as possible. Anuraj, you're on mute.
It's you're talking something like a bridge, right?
It's a bridge, but it adds functions that the robot doesn't have, like a camera or like a connection to the internet and so on. Right now, if my robot wants to connect to the internet, it goes through a computer. I don't want that. I want it to connect directly.
But then you need a box with some sort of 5G or SIM card, right? You want
No, a Wi-Fi, it just needs Wi-Fi on it. The truth is, I don't care if it has Wi-Fi or SIM card, but I don't need a separate. To the extent I have a separate computer, it's a little one, and I put it on the robot. So Spencer's robot, okay, from my perspective, could turn into one of these bridges.
mm,
Okay, imagine Spencer sets it up so it does all of these functions, with the internet. And now all we need is so that it will know how to put out commands on its USB to control my robot or your robot or somebody else's robot. And that's it.
but like the commands, so somebody has to write something for the bridge, right? Uh, so and then each robot has a different kind of command and affordance.
But the only commands we need are taking what you were told and passing it on. In other words, the fact that my robot moves slowly and your robot moves quickly, um, that could be handled anywhere. The big problem right now, I think, is getting my robot or anybody else's robot on the network in a way that people want to use it. I mean, forgive me, Spencer, being able to take a picture is good, but if you don't move, the picture's not going to change. Okay? So I need to move. But somebody already built a robot. I have a tumbler. The question is the tumbler able to get commands? If the tumbler is able to get commands, good. If it's not able to get commands, we need to build an API for it, for every single robot. But building an API is not the same as building all the other functionality and connection to the internet.
Well, if it has an RPi, it already has a Wi-Fi, right?
The
If
tumbler doesn't have an RPi. Spencer has.
mm,
Didn't you say
it's
there's a Pi 5 Raspberry Pi on the board? That's on the
I
new
don't know.
board or something?
uh,
Anuraj?
no, the board itself is just made for an ESP32, but it has some power buck converter for the RPi,
Oh, I
but it
understand.
doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there is a buck converter there, and then it's, I think the current capacity is like around 1 or 1.5, and then if you run RPi 5 on full throttle, it might not be able to supply the current or the power. So I think RPi 0 should be easily runnable, the current board 1.2.
Yeah, but the Pi Zero runs Unix. Well, type of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay, so it's a full operating system, and any code development we want to do on it, if we want to do on it, is easier than what you do on the ESP.
Yeah. But like generally the robots would, let's say if it's a DJI a drone, uh, they come with some sort of SDK, uh, or like a API, but they don't allow you to flash anything. So there is an interface, and if you add a box to connect to the robot, so there has to be some glue code written somewhere, right?
Yes, yes, but we'd have to do that anyways. What I'm saying is we keep it to a minimum. The only things that you add is the ability to get commands, maybe wireless, maybe USB. It doesn't matter to me.
Mm, I just this
Okay,
has to
and
be
they
a
have camera for the Pi Zero is another $15. But we already talked about using the drone that has a programmable drone.
yeah.
Okay, Eric mentioned I Wonder. All of the I Wonder stuff, I understand. Eric, correct me if I'm wrong, is designed to be fiddled with at least a small amount, so it's easy to add a connection to it.
Yeah, so that is not the problem, but like, would people be interested in just getting? So, what is the? I'm just thinking, what is the advantage of having a box? Because if you can fiddle with the RPi on the robot itself, then like you just clone the repo we have, and add in a
Okay,
plugin, and you're on the network.
exactly. It depends what kind of level of fiddling you're comfortable with.
Yeah,
Okay. Um,
yeah. It's not
if you're
seamless.
com
It's not seamless. Yeah,
No, not it's not question of seamless. What do you like fiddling with? Do you like fiddling with the wires? Do you like fiddling with the mechanics? Do you like fiddling with low-level software? Okay. And here what I'm saying is you put a box, it takes care of 90% of the fiddling, and you can focus your fiddling on the level of what should I tell the MCP that my robot's able to do, and will my friends be able to control it from remote or not? Okay, it's a different level of fiddling. The minute you
mm.
say I clone the repository and I flash my whatever and oops, it doesn't work, now what? Now you start fiddling. So some people like it, some people don't.
But like, yeah, how would you, let's say the spider bot, and like let's say Highwonder has like a tank, the
Yeah.
commands are totally different, right? So
No, I don't care. Let's assume that the spider bot includes connectors that gets commands from Wi-Fi, move forward, turn right, turn left. Okay, that's what I'm exposing all the way up to the MCP. We talked about adding intelligent movement layer that converts what a human really wants into what the robot can actually understand. But that's a different problem. First, we connect the network. If you connect to a spider, you will have to use one set of commands. If you connect to a tumbler, it's a different set of commands. If you connect to Spencer's image taking, forgive me, not quite robot, it's another set of commands. Okay? But you're connected and people can work with you. Now, if we want to add, and we do want to add a layer of adaptation so that all of these robots will be able to do some basic activities like moving and looking and tapping with their leg. I don't know what. So we'll do that. But we won't do it at the robot level.
There are these uh, like the programming languages for kids called something like
Yeah,
Blockly,
yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
which you connect blocks. So like there could be an interface like that, like let's say once you have the box and then it opens up a web UI where you are able to kind of fiddle with the affordances of the robot and then connect it somehow, and that way it makes it like easier for people. Or like something like PLC programming. It's like you basically have ladder network kind of programming, and then basically all these PLC boxes, they have like a easy interface to program to, so that it can be done on mass. So basically like when, so the person, an electrician doesn't or the person installing the PLC doesn't want to code too much, so they program at a higher abstraction level. Something like that could be done.
There are also some works that it's not really imitation learning, okay, but it's more like I think they're still doing it, but you see manipulators, especially the big ones, the 400 kilos and so on, okay? And so they have to do something, to move objects from A to B or to do some welding, whatever, okay? And I've seen some demonstration where basically we show, we take the manipulator is in a kind of free movement, okay? So you take it, okay, you put it at some position, everything is recorded, okay, and you put it at another position, stuff like that, okay, and the sensor data is recorded basically, and you can just replay. Okay? I wonder whether there is not more to do here, and maybe also it's very natural for us to maybe not to teach this way, but to not too far, basically. Remember, Mayor, a long time ago, I think 4 or 5 years ago, we were talking about something very similar, where we were even considering using techniques like model checking to be able to check that these movements were safe and could be played forward and backward.
Right.
If you remember that, okay. There may be something to do there, where basically there is no programming involved. Okay, there is a framework where we have to follow a number of steps to record, basically. I think now the most people are doing that within the frame of imitation learning, something like that. Okay, but maybe no. And I'm sorry, I really need to go for today, exceptionally. PLC, haven't seen a PLC for a long time. Great.
No, but this PLC is used a lot in the industries. Like industries is what PLCs are using. But yeah, see you in next week. We are meeting, but after that we start bi-weekly.
Okay, let's do that. Yes, PLCs are used everywhere still. I mean, this is very reliable stuff, right? And when we want very high reliability, usually people switch to PLCs. Okay?
Yes.
And I had a company in Stockholm, by the way, not too far from me in YaRG, okay, where we had a farm management system indoor
Mm.
farming. So it's a massive robot. Everything was completely automated. Okay? And at first, I programmed everything on a Raspberry Pi. There was enough power and everything was working. But at some point, we got investment partnership to go to the next level. Okay, and basically we had to rewrite everything with PLCs. Okay? Introduction of Siemens hardware, Siemens software, and so on. Everything had to move to PLCs. That I don't understand, because then the cost exploded and so on. But of course, industrial reliability, as they
Reliable.
say.
Yeah, so if you want reliability, this is the way. But like the people who are installing this generally are not coders. So it's like a higher abstraction level of programming language, something called ladder network. You basically are connecting different stuff and then the hardware gets programmed.
Good day, good night to you. Huh?
Okay,
Bye-bye.
bye.
See you.
Yeah, so
Right.
this is what I was trying to say. So like so Arduino is like a platform is it comes with a standard set of hardware with IoT capabilities, and then there is like some sort of hats for it, and then you program it with this PLC IDE. So yeah, something like that could be like you kind of expose some sort of uh, interface for the programming the affordances, and then you just supply the hardware, and then it allows some sort of basic programming. But this PLC becomes expensive, I think.
I don't know. The 02W looks very nice and cheap.
I think in the next couple of weeks, I could get this wired up to an Arduino I have at home and have it start moving some motors and stuff. If that would be useful at all as like a proof of concept of the power requirements and using the MCP to move stuff through the Pi to the Arduino.
Yeah, it would be interesting experiment. I was just thinking of buying a R50 to see if I can do something directly. I have an R5, but yeah, I'm using it for some other stuff.
Make sure you get one, unless you just have a bunch of parts lying around. Just get one with the header pins already attached, because
Okay.
I have to order some and solder them on, or they have like hammer in ones. But it'd be easier just to buy one that already has the 20 2x20 2x10 or whatever it is.
Yeah, I think, but the
2x20.
PCB you might have to solder the pins, the custom one. It You might need to buy the female sockets
Okay.
if this has the male ones, or vice versa. Anyone would do. Yeah, we have like 15 more minutes. We want to discuss something more. We could check Mayor's setup if you want to check.
Now we need to figure out what is the problem.
Yeah, I couldn't. Maybe it's some USB driver issue. So first
Maybe.
we,
So
yeah, first we need to
we
just
should
take out.
try somebody else with Windows.
Yeah, I
We
have
should try
Windows, but I
somebody
have
else with Windows.
never. I have fixed most of the problems, but I don't remember exactly like if I have seen the problem you are facing.
So we need to see somebody else's setup and see if they have the same kind of
Ye-
problems I have.
But I think none of us except you and me are using Windows, right?
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah, I'll try to check with the new ESP32 to see if there is some driver issue or not, and then check back with you. Venkat has shared this link. Open Haven. Composable standards, the control. So, are they making some hardware, software? What is this? Navigate the open protocol landscape.
I think it's like a database of open protocols, and you run through it to find, what matches your use case.
Okay.
Yeah, these guys just reached out to me about potentially joining PI and forming a special interest group there. They've been working for several years to basically validate and vet all kinds of P2P protocols and put them in this database. So they do more than just log it in a database. I think they kind of like audit them and make sure it's like a good working project, that kind of thing. It's similar to what Na, I think, was trying to do a couple of months back, except he was like solo wipe coding a spreadsheet of protocols and it was kind of like a mess. These guys have been doing it systematically for a while. So figured it's at least worth having on your radar since you're exploring this kind of thing
Okay.
quite a bit.
Okay. Small miss. Okay. Anything else we want to discuss today? I guess not. Then we meet next week. But yeah, I'll check the Windows thing for you, Mayor, and then see
Yeah.
next week. But
Okay.
we can try to debug your setup next week if you keep it ready. Yeah.
Okay. It's still sitting here.
Okay. Then see you.
So, guys,
Bye.
thank you.
See you
Bye.
guys.